Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is a very positive one, because the title is Solid Progress. And that's something you and everyone else can be making in the next week, and that is because there are 4 very powerful planets in the heavens right now, and they are in excellent aspect to each other. It's amazing. And that is because Venus is the ruler of Taurus, a hard-working earth sign, and it is trining Mars, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn. But Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and Saturn is the ruler of that sign. So they are really powerful. So that does make 4 planets in the sturdy earth signs that really can be quite ambitious right now. And earth signs are practical, they're good problem solvers, they're realistic, and they don't mind working really hard as long as they get some pretty good money for it as well. But those 4 planets in the earth signs are being sextiled beautifully by another very strong planet, Neptune, which is the ruler of Pisces. So Neptune is sextiling Venus in Taurus, but Neptune is also sextiling Saturn, Mars, and Pluto in Capricorn. So these planets that are in such supportive aspect to each other simply mean that you can make very solid progress in the next week, and the timing is very good for that. So if you want to work hard, and if you want to invest in your loved ones, and you want to build something for the future, and you want to prosper in the community by perhaps doing your duty and serving others, then nothing is stopping you. That is just wonderful. Of course, there are a few little bumps that are always in the road, or there can be some severe challenges as well. I mean, nothing's perfect. And that is because there are 6 planets in the cardinal signs which are all squaring each other. Well, that's better than last week. Last week there were 7. But for instance, the Sun and Mercury, which is retrograde, and Uranus in Aries are being squared by that Saturn, Mars, and Pluto in Capricorn. And since Aries rules new beginnings, and Mercury is retrograde right now, and it won't go direct for another 10 days, that simply means that this is a better time to go back and finish things, or tie up loose ends, or maybe do something that you've been putting off for a long time, sort of catch up with that. Because this harsh square from the dominant planets in Capricorn to the 3 planets in Aries simply means that this is a time when you may have to restart something, or revise a new start, or you may have to try to do something that you'd always wanted to do, but you're going to have to tweak it or find a different approach or come at it from a little bit different angle. And so that's all right. That's what I mean by bumps in the roads or severe challenges. It doesn't mean you can't succeed. It just means you might have to adapt to challenges right now. Because if you don't adapt to challenges right now, and if you don't take every single proper step to make sure that something does go forward in a very progressive way, it will fail. And how could that be possible? Well, the reason why it could fail is because of the dominant planets right now. In other words, with Venus in Taurus trining Saturn, Mars, and Pluto in Capricorn, and Neptune in Pisces sextiling both of them, it simply means that there won't be any shortcuts allowed. You will have to do everything in a way that sort of means back to basics. And if you do go back to basics, solid progress can be made. And that is what is underway right now. Believe me, these planets are so powerful and in such good aspect that everybody could do something to make solid progress right now. And yet, you wouldn't really succeed unless you decided to do things the old-fashioned way. So solid progress can be underway, but you've got to come at it the old-fashioned way, without skipping steps, without taking shortcuts, and making sure that you take every single proper step in order. And that simply means, that old-fashioned way means that you may have to work very hard. You may have to persevere over those obstacles or setbacks or delays or disappointments. I mean, they're a part of life, but if you persevere, you can do that. And you have to cooperate with others, because none of us makes it by ourselves. And so cooperation is required as well. And then what else? Well, having grit and having courage. And if sacrifices are required, they will have to be made, because there is simply no other way to achieve solid progress and long-lasting success. But that is really possible right now, and that is what I mean by there is nothing stopping you. And so I hope you dedicate yourself to something that is really important to you and really go after it right now, because the planets are with you. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, yes, solid progress is possible, even though the 3 planets in your sign, the Sun, Mercury, and Uranus, are being squared by Mars, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn. The reason why solid progress can be obtainable for you as well, Aries, is because, yes, you may have to face obstacles or a few little bumps in the road, but Venus in Taurus is right ahead of your sun sign. And that's very positive, because it's being beautifully backed up right now. And Neptune in Pisces is right behind your sun sign. So there is help around for you, Aries. And today, the sun is at 15 degrees of Aries, and it is exactly trine the moon at 15 degrees of Sagittarius. So there really are 4 planets in the fire signs right now. And that is why not only do you have help that you can lean on that's around you, but you could hear from somebody from a distance, or you could be expecting guests to come your way, or you may go back to school to upgrade your skills, or you could have some benefit from the courts. Those are the things that Sagittarius rules. So the lights are with you, there's friendly influences around you, and yes, there are some severe challenges, but you can overcome them if you want to, Aries, and you can still make solid progress. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a golden moment for you, and that is because Venus, your own ruler, is in your sun sign, and it is trining Saturn, the exalted Mars, and Pluto in Capricorn, and Neptune in Pisces is sextiling that Venus as well. So Taurus, this is a perfect time for you to be making solid progress on something. It can be that you want to increase your investments. It can be that you want to get a better job so that you can have better retirement when that comes. It can be that you want to improve your health, because the 4 planets in the earth signs are also trining the sign of Virgo, which does rule health and our work. It's just that with Venus in your sign and being aspected so favorably by other very strong planets right now, Taurus, this is your golden moment to really go after something solid, something that you love, something that will bring out the best in you, and something that may require hard work, sacrifice, perseverance, cooperation, and grit and courage. But you've got those, Taurus, so I wish you the best of luck. And I wouldn't waste any time right now, Taurus. I would get real serious about what can make you and your loved ones happy right now, because it looks like you could make solid progress and achieve long-lasting success. It's just you got to get on the right road right now, Taurus, but now it's the right time to do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, there aren't any planets in any of the air signs right now, so this is not the time for talking, Gemini. In fact, with Venus in Taurus right behind your sun sign, you could have your eyes on something rather expensive or sort of pricey right now. Or you could simply know some people who are very secure financially, and they could be supportive of you behind the scenes, and that's great. But at the same time, you can make solid progress, but it would be behind the scenes. You know, that Venus is behind your sign. So you can make solid progress on something financial. Taurus is a financial sign right behind yours. But you'd have to do it really quietly and not talk to too many people about that. At the same time, Gemini, I've got to issue a warning to you, particularly this week, and particularly right now, in fact. And that is because there is something you don't know. And the reason why I'm sure of that is because Neptune in Pisces, which is very strong right now, is at 15 degrees, and it is squaring your sun. And the moon in Sagittarius is also at 15 degrees, so these two planets are squaring each other, and the moon is opposing your sun sign. And so it simply means that the moon and Neptune are nebulous planets. They rely on feelings and hunches and intuition. And so there is something, and Pisces rules things going on behind the scenes. There's something devious that you don't know. And so I would say that somewhere in your life, Gemini, somebody has got something fishy going on, and you don't know it yet. I think you're going to find it out, but you don't know it yet. So this is really not the time to trust what other people are telling you, at least not everybody, because something could sound too good to be true, that's fishy, or something could be kept from you. In other words, people could be telling you their intent for one thing, and really they're doing something completely different. So I think that you need to spend time working and looking behind the scenes to find out the truth. And you may not want to talk about what you're doing right now, but you do need to search, particularly for something that is fishy that you don't know about, because somebody is telling you a pack of lies, Gemini. I just don't know who, but it might be helpful if you spent a little time trying to find out. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, I think that with these 6 planets in cardinal signs, and yours being a cardinal sign, you can be up against some severe challenges. After all, the 3 planets in Aries are squaring your sun, and the 3 planets in Capricorn, which are even stronger, are opposing your sun sign. And so there is the possibility that there could be some bumps in the road for you this week, Cancer, or some obstacles or delays or setbacks to overcome. But you can do it because you've got Jupiter in Scorpio trining your sun, and that powerful Neptune in Pisces is also trining your sun. And so remember, people can get over these obstacles and move ahead because the planets are so supportive right now, and they're supportive in realistic, tangible ways. So don't waste your time dreaming this week, Cancer. Instead, face reality, because you're still going to be okay. Even if there is a sacrifice that is required, well, then you'll have to make it. And no shortcuts can be allowed right now. Okay, well, then you can just take every single step that you need, and you too can make solid progress, particularly financially. You can do that, or in your relationship. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when you can be filled with enthusiasm because, after all, there are 4 planets in fire signs, and that means that the sun, your ruler, Mercury, and Uranus in Aries are trining your sun, but today the moon in Sagittarius is also trining your sun. You may feel, since fire signs like action, that you could just burst forward right now. But remember that Mercury is retrograde, and under a retrograde Mercury, it's always better to go back and check things, check the fine print, finish things up, in fact, double check everything. And if that happens, you may change your mind about something, Leo, Leo, because once you find out more information, you could change your mind about a new start. And because Mercury is retrograde in that sign, it means that all of us will have to revise a new start, or we will have to change something in some way, or even go back to an old idea, maybe dust that off instead, because it can be more financially viable, particularly for you, Leo. And the reason why I'm mentioning money more than anything else is because Venus in Taurus, which is very strong right now, is squaring your sun sign, which means something is too expensive for you. And Jupiter in Scorpio, the other fixed financial sign, is also squaring your sun, which means there can be debts or bills around, or loans, or higher credit costs, or taxes that have to be paid. And so, you know, you really need to sort of lower your sights a little bit, even if you want to start something new, which I think you do, but do it in a more economical way. In other words, you have to conserve your financial resources, not extend them, because they could be extended so much that you could sink into debt, and that wouldn't be good. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time that you benefit greatly from, and that is because, remember I said there are 4 planets in those earth signs. So Venus in Taurus is trining your sun. Mars, Saturn, and Pluto in Capricorn are also trining your sun, and that simply means that you can make very solid progress right now, Virgo, not only in your investments, but in something that has to do with your career, that's what Capricorn rules, and your long-term security. The thing that could be making you uneasy right now, and you'd have a reason for that, is that Neptune, which is also very powerful and supportive of the other planets, is in Pisces, and it is opposing your sun sign, which means you may not know who to trust right now, because somebody could be involved in a cover-up or a conspiracy, or they could simply be telling you what you want to hear, and then as soon as they sort of lull you into complacency, they can go off and do whatever they want, which is probably the opposite of what they've been telling you. And so you need to investigate things that sound too good to be true, or you need to test people right now before you believe them. This would not, with your ruler Mercury being retrograde, this would not be a good time for you to sign any important papers. But it will be coming up pretty soon, because Mercury will go direct in 10 days. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, there aren't any planets in the air signs, so this isn't a time to be talking or kibitzing or making wishes right now. Instead, there are 6 planets in cardinal signs that are squaring and opposing your sign. The 3 planets in Aries are opposing your sign, and the 3 more powerful planets in Capricorn are squaring your sign. So remember I said that if we're going to be involved in solid progress right now, we have to work hard, persevere, cooperate with others, have grit and courage, and be willing to make sacrifices if they're required. Well, that goes about double for you, Libra, because this isn't a time to talk. This is a time when you will have to make some adjustments or overcome a few obstacles or bumps in the road, but you can do that too, because Venus rules your sign and Taurus. So whenever Venus is in either of those 2 signs, it makes the other sign powerful as well, because Venus itself is powerful. So your ruler is doing just fine in Taurus, and that means if you address an investment or a financial matter, you could be doing all right yourself. Just prepare for a few little bumps along the way. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when I think that you can be taking advantage of the challenges or the hard work that is required in order to get something done. And that something could have something to do with making sure that justice is done behind the scenes. You would be interested in that. And that is because Jupiter is in your sign. It's retrograde right now, going back over ground it's already covered before in its orbit, so it can be picking up more information. And Neptune is trining it, so that simply means if you go behind the scenes and seek answers to problems that you have, or questions that you have, or simply want to get more information on a lot of different things, you could do it right now, Scorpio, and that would be very helpful to you. So since there are no planets in the air signs, this isn't really a time for people to be discussing things, but this is an excellent time to get some work done. And so with the 3 planets in Capricorn, which include both of your rulers, Mars and Pluto, and Saturn as well, sextiling your sun, you should try to get more information about things, because Venus in Taurus is opposing your sun sign, which means this is not a good time for you to be spending a lot of money. But you could investigate things that are expensive and maybe plan for the future instead. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is a rather positive time for you because the lights are with you. And that is because the moon is in your sign today at 15 degrees, and it is precisely trying the sun in Aries, also at 15 degrees. And then Mercury is retrograde there, and Uranus is in Aries as well. So you could feel like zooming forward right now, Sagittarius. But you better look before you leap, because Neptune is very powerful in Pisces. It's the ruler of the sign. It's being supported by the planets in earth signs, and it too is at 15 degrees. So it is exactly square that moon in your sign. And that means that since the moon rules our feelings, that you may not be too sure of your feelings, or else you're not 100% positive about somebody else's feelings. And it can be that you're not sure if you can really trust someone else or not. And I would say that if you're going to try something new, it might be better to do that about 10 days from now when Mercury goes direct. But while Mercury is retrograde in that sign of new beginnings, Aries, you should go back and finish something up or give something a little more time before you make a decision. And that way you can test whether somebody is actually being honest and truthful with you or not. Because remember, a new beginning or a restart of something will fail if every single proper step isn't taken. No shortcuts will be allowed. So slow down a little bit now, Sagittarius. It could do you a lot of good. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when I think that you can really be all charged up and ready to go and want to make solid progress, and you can, Capricorn. There really isn't much stopping you. And yes, those 3 planets in Aries, the Sun, Mercury, and Uranus, are squaring your Sun. But you have stronger planets than that in your sign, and they are being fortified beautifully by Venus in Taurus. So with Mars, Saturn, and Pluto in your Sun sign, being supported, as I said, by strong planets, Neptune in Pisces is sextiling them, and Venus in Taurus is trining them, I would say that you can make very solid progress right now. And it could be on something that you had wanted to start before, but it hadn't quite worked out, or it had been delayed, or there had been some disappointment concerning it. So you may want to restart something. And I would say, in your calm, methodical way, you should pursue that, Capricorn, because you have the strength to make some solid progress and to succeed for long-lasting success. So just be patient if there's a few obstacles to overcome or some delays in your path. That's all right, as long as you do things the old-fashioned way, which involves hard work, perseverance, cooperation, grit, and courage. You can succeed. So this is a golden moment for you as well, and you should really go for what will be best for you in the long run. This is a perfect time to do it. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, there aren't any planets in the air signs right now, so it's a little bit useless to think you can talk your way in or out of anything. And Venus in Taurus is squaring your Sun, and so is Jupiter in Scorpio. So there really is a financial matter that has to be settled. And I think that since there are very strong planets right behind your Sun sign, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto are in Capricorn right behind your Sun sign, and they're being fortified, that behind the scenes there can be a strong reason to get a problem solved right now, Aquarius. And yet, with Uranus in Aries being challenged by those planets in Capricorn and Mercury and the Sun as well, I think that you have to at least acknowledge, Aquarius, that you are vulnerable. You are vulnerable to some unpleasant financial surprise if you don't get in there and work at handling a financial problem and being fair about it. And so this isn't a time for talk. This is a time for you to sort of roll up your sleeves, and if a sacrifice is required, it will have to be done. But if you put off any kind of financial problem, or you don't acknowledge it and you don't work to solve it, you will be in deep trouble by the time of the lunar eclipse in your sign in July. So this is the time you've got to reconcile a financial problem and get it straightened out. What does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when you can be instrumental in working behind the scenes and being quite helpful to other people, which is good. And that is because Neptune is in your sign. It's very strong, and it is being fortified by a sextile from Venus and Taurus on one side and another sextile from Saturn, Mars, and Pluto in Capricorn on the other side. So boy, do you have a lot of good, strong support around you, Pisces. So if you wanted to make solid progress right now, you certainly could. And it may have something to do with money. And that is because Jupiter is in a financial sign, Scorpio, and it is trining your sun sign. But it's retrograde. So you could try to get some money paid back, perhaps to you. If you'd loaned money to anybody, maybe there's a way to get that straightened out. Or there is a possibility that you can get a tax refund or something else that can represent a matter of justice and fairness. So that's good. But the solid progress can be made in problem solving or working harder or making sure that your long-term success is assured because you're willing to make sacrifices. So whatever is on your plate right now that you want to work at, Pisces, you're going to get some good help with that, and you could really succeed right now. So I wish you the best of luck. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see our show on our website, and you can read our blog and hear the podcast at starborninstitute.org. Bye.